Welcome to Hearts and Stripes, your one-stop shop for all things military marriage. I hope our discussions and interviews equip you with the tools to start or grow a beautiful marriage as we address the benefits and challenges of MilMarraige. I believe life's most precious moments are worth celebrating, so I'll help you design your marriage blueprint in alignment with your core values. Thank you for joining us, and remember to rate, subscribe, and review. Let's do this. All right, everyone, we are at day 4 of the storytelling series. I hope you have enjoyed thus far. Big thanks to Nomadis. Check out the special that kicked us off with 20% off of your Nomadis purchase. Also, huge thank you to the Armed Forces Insurance Award Program. This is an amazing opportunity for our spouses to just advocate for so many different issues. I love that you have the opportunity to hear some of their stories and some of their hearts for the different things that they advocate for. Now we're going to jump in with Cindy, and I will not delay you any further. Check it out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Heart to Heart. I hope you are enjoying our Storyteller series. Today, I have a very special guest, another member of our Top 18. I have Cyntheia Meili. She is the 2020 Armed Forces Insurance New York National Guard Spouse of the Year. Cindy, say hello to everyone.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm super excited to jump into a couple of questions, hear all about you, your story, and your platform. So first, let's kick things off. We would love to hear what your military marriage story is.
Well, first of all, Bree, thank you so much for having me on. I've been listening to your series all week, and it's just so inspirational. So I really, really appreciate you giving me the time to share this with you. So my military marriage story is a little bit all over the place. So I got married to my airman, my two-stripe airman. I was 19. So I met him. He was stationed up where I am from in Plattsburgh, New York, and we were dating and everything, and as military relationships go, we, just started getting serious, and he got orders to Korea.
Wow.
So I was going to college. Going to college up there, and during my semester break, I went to visit him in Korea. So that was pretty interesting. So I went over there for a few weeks, and then came back, and a few months later, he sent my parents a ring in the mail and basically proposed to me over the telephone.
Oh, wow.
So he had talked to my parents, and they were, I was pretty young. I was 19, but in true military fashion, he said and he had a follow-on to Germany, to Spangdahlem Air Force Base in Germany. So it was basically either we get married or, what are we going to do? So I was like, hey, sure, let's get married,
Wow, that's a pretty awesome proposal, though. I kind of like it.
Yeah. So, my parents they're pretty supportive. They were, skeptical at first, I was their baby. I was their baby, and, but at the same time, I was, I had my future that I thought I had planned out, but you know how that goes when you're in the military. It doesn't go the way you want it to go. So we got married in September, and then a week and a half later, we were on our way PCSing, taking the rotator over to Germany. So that was the beginning of my military marriage, and 27 years later, here we are. And in between that, we've endured probably over 10 deployments and transitions from active duty Air Force to active Air Guard in New York. So he's in the Air National Guard in New York State in Syracuse, New York at Hancock Field. And So in between that, we've had about 7 PCSs. So we've moved from all over the map, from Germany to DC to Texas to South Carolina, back to Texas, back to South
I love
Carolina.
it. That is such an adventure. So first, let me start by saying congratulations on 27 years. That is amazing. That is so awesome. And I know with each year comes some wisdom that you can definitely share. And even those 10 deployments, I mean, wow, that is a lot. So and I guess, go ahead.
Definitely the being that 19-year-old, not knowing anything about the military, not having any idea the difficulties that I'd had adapting to the lifestyle at first, because I was pretty independent, and then you go to another country, you're just married, you only have each other, and your parents are half a world away, and you have to rely on each other to get you through those times. We were just getting to know each other again because he was coming back from Korea, so we had that friendship, and then we had to figure out how, I was having difficulty, and he had to figure out how to teach me that military lifestyle that, back in the 90s, we didn't have the wonderful, amazing support programs that we have, like the Air Force Insurance Military Spouse of the Year, all of the wonderful, we just connect. All of us, the spouses connect, and we're all in it together. And
now we have Airmen and Family Readiness. Armed Forces Insurance has a program that we're fortunate to be a part of. And
absolutely.
You're absolutely right. There's so many different programs going on now. And I've heard that from a lot of different seasoned spouses.
Yeah.
Just the progress that has come throughout the years to support our military families and our spouses. So that's amazing,
And from, one of our first deployments when we were stationed in Germany with our son, who was born in Germany, Dad deployed. He didn't understand it. Well, we would have to go to the Family Readiness Center and schedule a video conference if he was able to have Wi-Fi or if he had the connection capability back then. Then we would have to do it through a TV. And now he's a half a world away right now in another country, and he can pick up the phone and call our 16-year-old and check on his day. He's got the SATs tomorrow, so he could FaceTime him and say, hey, good luck tomorrow, buddy, So that connection and technology is so important. It's just incredible. So,
that is awesome to hear. Kind of your perspective from both sides. So before, pre-technology, and now, we're really fortunate.
Yeah, I'm the old one now. Never in a million years did I think,
Stop it. Seasoned spouse, that's what we like to call it. You just got a little more seasoned, like wine. You got it with time. It's fine. It is just fine. But, with all of those years, and you know what? You even mentioned that you have both perspective from both sides. Like you said, you married a young airman, so you have, that perspective from the enlisted side and from the officer side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we got married, he was a two-striper, and so just the differences and just having to adapt to both sides. Just seeing what works and what doesn't work, and it's just consistently being the person you are to help anybody that needs help, support anybody that needs support, getting that information to the airmen that need it. It's just, who you are. It doesn't matter if you're enlisted or if you're officer, it doesn't matter. It's just the person in your heart, who you are.
That is awesome. And I like how you said that before. So earlier in your marriage, you worked as a team who taught you this military lifestyle. Yeah. And then as you transitioned even from enlisted to officer, you matured, you got more comfortable and confident in yourself. You were able to share that and encourage that for other people. So that's amazing. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, and we all have, nobody has it together all of the time.
Absolutely.
And we have I just talked to one of our and across the board too. So it's like, when they talk about joint force integration, like on the mission side, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's on the spouse side too, because, you know, there's so many different spouses that I come in contact with. One of my friends she's an Army spouse, and she just had a baby, and she just went back to work yesterday. And her husband's out in the field right now, so she had to take the baby to daycare for the first time, go back to work, all of those feelings. Like, and she didn't want to hear that it was okay. She just wanted somebody to hear her. And
Yes.
I get it. We've been there, and it's okay not to be 100% okay all the time. I have my 30-day breakdowns where, you know, and I don't have little ones anymore. I have a 16-year-old and I have a 22-year-old who's currently on his third combat deployment right now. So he's overseas right now. So I've got that both sides, being the mom and being the wife of, you know, them being gone. But it's okay to not be okay, and just to have that cry and get it out of the way. It's just been like, kind of like put it in perspective, and kind of like, I like to laugh at myself, because it's like, you know, my son will look at me and he's like, why are you crying? Like, you know, and I'm like, they laugh at me, and then that gets me laughing at myself, saying, okay, really? It snowed 24 inches, so I'm stuck in the driveway and I've got to go plow. Okay, you know?
Oh, no. So, Cindy, I can so relate to that. I too have had that experience where my husband was away, and I had our youngest, actually, and I went back to work 3 weeks after having the baby, and it was just like, you're absolutely right. I had to allow myself to feel that, and I'm glad you said that. It's okay for things to not be okay, and it's so important for our spouses and our active duty members to just know that, and just be heard and be seen. And, you know, like you said, use some humor in there if you need to, but to feel the emotions at the moment, that is so powerful. I agree with you.
And, you know, you don't need things fixed. You know, you just need, like you said, you just need to know that it happened, it's okay, and you've got a community of support that's going to help you. And, you know, our big thing is when he's away, because he's on a lot. So when he's away, I've been able to create, and being in the National Guard, a lot of people don't understand what the National Guard is. They still think it's the 1 week in the month, 2 weeks a year type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case anymore. And that's, you know, and that ties into a little bit about my platform, trying to get connected in the community so that the community understands when you have somebody like a military spouse who's a National Guard spouse, military spouse, that their husband, it's unpredictable when our guys leave. They, you know, they're not, you know, on an AEF rotation where they know, like, oh, years we're going to go to wherever. Like, it just pops up, like, oh, we're leaving next week for 90 days. Oh, okay, you know.
Right.
We have to find that support in our community, and I'm really, really lucky that I've live in a community that gets it, that I've been able to just create those connections and the awareness of that. So when he's gone, he can concentrate on his mission and do his thing. And, you know, that is good for our marriage, because he knows that I'm, you know, he doesn't have to worry about me. And then I don't have to worry about him worrying about me. So
right.
So, and then he knows that the kids are okay. And I've been, you know, pretty fortunate that I have been able to stay home with the kids once we PCS to New York. I didn't want to go back, because we don't have an installation here that I can transfer my, you know, my non-appropriated time and my federal time.
Right.
So I had to kind of recreate myself again. You know, every time we would, you know, PCS, I would have to start again. And then especially when we moved to New York, really there isn't a lot of military spouse hiring programs at the local level. So, you know, being in the community, I started working at the school, and then, you know, created that, you know, that network for me, and that, you know, allowed me to kind of have an identity. And that's so important when you're, you know, you're married to the military. So
yes,
that's what you know. it's what you know. And so that's kind of what I focused on. And, you know, when we came here, there wasn't a place that I could go and say, okay, I need help with this or I need help with that. I had to like actively search and find those things. So, you know.
So, Cynthia, I would love to hear more about your platform, kind of what your thought process is. If you could take us through, like within the year, what would you like to do to help inform the community and those around to supporting our military families?
So my main platform is, it's kind of funny because everybody is on the military spouse hiring. You know, there's so many programs out there for military spouse programs, but they're at the federal level. They're at the, like the licensing, the new, all of that. That's so fantastic. But for me, at the local level, there isn't anything. Like, so like at, our town implemented a new veteran outreach coordinator position. So that way, so I applied for it, and at first they were like, no, we've got somebody in mind, you know, we've already got somebody in mind. And I'm like, can you please just look at my application and give me a chance? Just give me a chance.
Yeah.
So they did, and they looked at it, and they're like, oh, so I was hired for that, and so I've been able to build the awareness in the community that way. So my hope is my platform is overall wellness for the community, like military spouse wellness programs for overall, like whether that's the spouse employment, like child care, the total force integration that I'm talking about, like Army and Air Force programs. We need to have them across the board because Army has some, and then Air Force doesn't have funding for some. And then, just basically wellness programs. And if I can somehow work with our local, like county level, to implement like a military spouse hiring, something similar to the federal program that we have out there.
Yeah.
Just look at, something to mirror that. Because we all know we're overutilized and underpaid. The Blue Star Families survey just came out, and I have my paralegal degree. I have all this experience. But they're not going to hire me on a GS position because I didn't take the local test, and the list is so it's really frustrating being in a community. But if we can bridge that gap and kind of bring in military spouses to fill that, because we're pretty resourceful. We like to get things done. We don't need a lot of guidance. We we take the lead. We see if something needs to be done, we do it. And across our nation, there's 2,600 communities that have military spouses in them.
Right, exactly.
2,600. So if we can put them in the community, and we can make the community aware of what the National Guard is, who we are, and what we do, what the mission is, we'll be able to bridge that gap. And the community members, people want to help the military. They want to know what they can do. So if I can bring awareness at that level to start working, at the roots level, the basic bottom level.
Grassroots level. I love it. I think there is definitely a need for that on a local level. When I heard of your platform, I even thought of like if you could create a community guide that could go out to these different areas to say, hey, this is the type of resource that you have into your community that is currently untapped. Because I will say, I'm the first to say, our military spouses, man, they are some rock stars. Like you said, very educated, flexible, resilient. Like those are the people that you want to have on your team. And I love how you approach it from a holistic perspective and calling it wellness at a local level. I think that you'll see a lot of results because with you advocating for change on a local level, and then others are advocating at a higher level, I absolutely think it will make a huge difference overall. So I love that.
And, they talk about, we already know our forces are combat ready. We already know that. We know that they're trained and they do their job and they do it well. Now we need to turn the focus on our military families. We need to
I agree.
be combat ready. We need to be prepared for, they leave tomorrow and like, what do we do? Where do I go? And I've been able to, create those. I've got binders that have information in them at our town halls, our American Legion,
nice.
so that and I try to update them and with all the new information. And when people say like, oh, you help them get resources, and they kind of think it's, oh, they need money or they need this.
No, not necessarily, right.
Like, do you know that Disney has that program and you can stay at Shades of Green for blah, blah, blah? And they're like, had no idea. Yeah, vet tickets, and that in turn goes with some of the programming for our kids. We don't have the programs, that the bases have for for our military kids when they're deployed. I'm actually working with Operation Teammate. It's an organization out. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're an organization out of Augusta, Georgia. And my husband and my son are going to the Masters, the final round.
Nice.
So Jeremy's gonna represent military kids, and John's my husband's the chaperone. So he's gonna.
That is awesome. What an opportunity.
Yeah. So if we can, get those, and Veteran MX Foundation. Both my boys race motorcycles. So Veteran MX Foundation is a foundation that helps combat vets ride motocross and, get, the therapy they need. And there's just so many programs out there for our veterans and our military families. We just need to get connected.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited for your platform. Thank you so much for being an advocate on that local level. It's so needed. You have just listed some amazing platforms, and programs. I will definitely link that in the show notes so that people can get connected, and any others that you would like to share. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. If you guys are listening now, Cindy and I are urging you. Voting started yesterday. It is also happening today. Please go out and vote. Read these platforms. We have some amazing top 18. Yes, amazing. So
and
please check out Cindy.
Not just the top 18. We have some amazing military spouses across the board. We are going to take DC. We're going to show them who's boss.
Oh, yeah, taking DC by storm. We are super excited. Cindy, thank you so much for being on this Heart to Heart with us.
Bree, thank you so much.
This podcast is sponsored by B. Carroll Events for wedding and event planning and design. Well, there you have it. Cindy was such a pleasure to talk to. She is a wealth of knowledge, and I absolutely love her perspective. Those 27 years, she has seen such a transition in our armed forces, but I love the reminder that she has to us all, which is that there's still work to be done. So if you are not listening on March 3rd or March 4th, it is okay. If you do catch it during that time frame, please go to MSOY, so that's MSOY.afi.org. Go ahead and vote for one of these amazing candidates that are in the top 18 to move on for branch in the overall MSOY title. If you are not listening during that time, don't worry. You still have an opportunity to connect with these spouse powerhouses. I encourage you to reach out to them, get involved, find out how you can help support the platform that speaks to you and the need that you maybe see in your area. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to rate, subscribe, and review. This is Hearts and Stripes. We are the few and the proud that aim high and are forged by love. Born ready. We are MilMarraige strong.